Well, hello, and welcome back to the Crystal Clarity Podcast. You have made it for episode 24. We are talking about the genesis of light, and this is a little three-part series. And listen to episode 23 if you haven't listened to that yet, because I set up what is this genesis of light, and so listen to that, and then come back to episode 24. Here we are right now, talking about the genesis of light and one of the most important states where your body, as a magical tool in this world, as a healer for humans, as a great magical tool for the earth and the land, gets turned on and creates massive amounts of light by being in this state of consciousness. So I'm going to talk to you about this other magical state of consciousness, stones that relate to this magical state of consciousness, and how we tap in through this state of consciousness. So this is for you all that are like, I know that the stones amplify my being, and I am ready to create massive amounts of light through my own form. And in part 3 of this episode, of this little series, I'm going to share exactly why I'm calling this Genesis of Light, and it's such a cool combination. But for right now, let's talk about this next incredible state of being and the stones connected to it. Oh, it's all about consciousness right now. Okay, let's go into episode 24. All right, my friends. So we are discussing moving into higher states of consciousness so that we can generate light. And then we're using our stones, our flowers, our tools around us, the external field, as an external reflection of what is happening with us internally. And that's a really strong way to work, to have the internal alchemy turned on and then work with external alchemy as well. The stones, crystals, tools, areas, places, power spots that reflect that back. And I want to let you know something weird and personal. This is somewhat weird and personal, but the magical state that we're about to talk about today is compassion. And when we get into a state of compassion, we generate tremendous amounts of light. And when I talk about light, I am talking about divine light. This is spiritual light. And when I'm talking about light, I'm also talking about this fifth dimensional field that we called the unified field. It's like tapping into the 0 point energy and linking up with that 0 point energy, which is the most important thing that we can do. We don't want to battle in the 3D. Let's battle 5G and fight against toxins. It's just when we battle, we can't win, because the next cycle is about going beyond polarity and going beyond good, bad, right, and wrong, and standing in the unified field. So this state of compassion is something that taps us right into the unified field. And, what's personal to me about this, and just interesting, and I never thought that I would say this publicly, but when I die, if my ego dies and I have a spiritual death, and I no longer identify with this thing called Sarah Starwolf in this town with all of these programs and beliefs and limitations and ideas about who I am, when I no longer identify with the self, or if I pass away, like wherever and whenever I transcend the identification with the self, all that is going to be left is compassion. Compassion is actually what I am. It's my secret identity. But when there's an I here, when there's an ego here, when there's a self here, it's the thing that's like the film over this compassion. And when I'm gone, you will see that all that is there is compassion. This incredible radiating field of compassion. That's who I truly am. That is the closest thing that I could describe to the truth about what I am. And as my ego dissolves, you will just feel that more and more and more. And yeah, I don't know what is going on with me, but it's been, whether it's lifetimes or realities or dimensions or however you want to feel it, that is my makeup. That is what is stitched into who I am. It is forwards and backwards through time. That is all that is here, is compassion. It's all that is here. So it is my fundamental true nature. And so it's something very near and dear to me. You might experience too, like your fundamental true nature, and it may be a different state or a different way of being, but this compassion, what compassion is, it's empathy. It's when we feel empathy and we're able to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. We're able to feel from someone else's feelings and see through someone else's eyes. But it's empathy with a dash of love. Compassion is like when we also add the love, and that empathy is we step into the other person's shoes and we feel what it's like from their side, but then the heart opens and we also love who they are. We feel an experience of loving them, loving it for what it is. And that's how I see compassion. Actually, empathy, this feeling of being empathic with love mixed in, is the dynamics under that is earth plus fire in Taoist 5-element phenomenon. Compassion, because there's love in it, and love can be a little bit fierce. Love can be like, I've got you in such a big way that I can kick you in the butt a little bit too. Compassion can sometimes have that, like, I'm also kicking you in the butt. And that's why, for those of you that have encountered Kuan Yin metaphysically, you'll find that same with many other spiritual figures. Actually, you'll find that there's this face of love, this face of like just pure love, and then you can also see this face of fierceness. It's the fierceness. It's like the fierce mama bear as well. So that is the feeling of compassion for me. And I've learned that, all of these states start with the self. Instead of trying to give compassion to something else, when you give compassion to yourself, it just multiplies out effortlessly. The inner becomes the outer automatically. So the most powerful place to start is with yourself. And I've learned that when I tune in and sit down and allow myself to feel compassion for myself, sometimes it comes over us automatically. Sometimes we sit down and really we'll take a moment to put ourselves in our shoes. Wow, look at what this is like for you. This has been really difficult. Look at all the things that you've been doing, and you're the only one that knows how you felt too. Like you've been doing all of that when you were even having a headache, and you were caring about that person and picking their kids up from school, even when you didn't feel it. And you just let yourself go there. Like, it's just okay for it to be like almost a list of things at first, like. And then you might find these other parts of self come up to join. I will often see inner child parts come up, younger parts of me. It's like they're like, oh, there's this little field of self-compassion being built, and they want to come sit at that fire. And so I see the parts of me come up, and then I'll let myself dig and mine into that. Look at you. That was hard when you were 6. Wow, you just look through their eyes. You let those parts come up and join the fire and just be in self-compassion. It automatically radiates out to compassion for your partner, and compassion for your family, and compassion for a nature space is so profound too. Like sitting next to a nature space and feeling compassion, putting yourself in its shoes, seeing all that it has done and all that it is doing, and then feeling that sense of love that comes over you in the compassion. These things generate tremendous light. So much light comes out of my field. It's almost like I'm a Qigong master for millions of years, and this light just pours out of my being. Divine light, unified field light. And so much light comes in times like this when you really let yourself just feel self-compassion. So much light comes that you may feel entities, and I don't mean anything scary. I just mean gentle things that are ready to transmute may come to your field because there's so much light that they start to be like, I can go there and kind of transmute things that are ready to gently transmute. You may even feel them come up to your field. That is because you're generating tremendous light. Self-compassion generates tremendous light. So that's something to offer to this world, right? And before you start your work for the day, or if you have a healing clinic or a practice, or you're starting a ceremony, or you're about to work with a bunch of kids or going to school, or having a moment of self-compassion is going to generate tremendous light, and everybody will feel that light because you are the magical tool. And I wanted to share this. We've been in the last episode, we talked about this other magical state, and we talked about some stones that resonate vibrationally. And with this powerful, incredible state of love and compassion, mica is a stone. Mica is a stone that is this soft. I'm gonna hold a piece up just for those that are watching. Look at this mirror. It's incredible. What? Mica is this soft light mirror. Like I could see myself in the mirror. And it just offers this gentle field of light. I mean, Mica's always been so accessible, so gentle. It's like there's a humility in it, when you're walking on a trail in these mountains, you just see these little points of light sparkling at you. It's mica. It's like, hello. It's all these little mirrors of you all around. It's such a good reflection of the earth as a mirror. And even way back in the Chinese name for mica, it's what they're pointing to in the name is that you're good. You're good. It's to love yourself. It's compassion for yourself. It's a mirror that shows you that you're good. It's a mirror that shows you all the goodness that you are. So mica is an incredible stone for this. And it's so cool that we have a pink mica. If you have a reflective piece of lepidolite, the pink mica, that's just blow you away. Amazing stone for working with compassion or building a compassion grid. I've gone to land places that are so, they're just so not loved on. There's problems and bad energy and debris and everything. That's such a great place to build a lepidolite grid as an offering. Sit and feel self-compassion and just start to generate that energy. So compassion stones, also rose quartz really is truly just the quintessential compassion stone. There are so many spiritual beings and spiritual energies that like to enter through the rose quartz. It's also an accessible stone. You can get a whole handful of rose quartz, a whole bag of small rose quartz, and make offerings and grids and hold it as your medicine piece, or hold it a big piece around your neck as you do that self-compassion practice and generate light. So goodness, compassion stones are okay, I want to say another one if you don't mind. This I'm going to say this and then ask you what yours are, but this is called hematoid rose quartz. Hematoid rose quartz, and I love this because it has some hematite in it. It has some iron in it. See that beautiful thing? This is beautiful because iron has this vibrational energy of the mother, the loving mother, the mother that holds us all. And then you also have the rose quartz in it that, stimulates and opens the heart. So it's just an amazing stone for self-compassion too. This is such a powerful stone, the hematoid rose quartz. So those are some of the stones that I rely on for self-compassion. Oh, this guy's like, don't forget me, jeez. Sunstone. Sunstone is an amazing stone for self-compassion. Great stone for self. Look at it lighting up here. I'm holding a piece up, but sunstone's another very high vibrational stone that's connected with heaven and self-compassion. So drawing in heavenly energy for self-compassion. And remember, when you generate a field of self-compassion, that compassion itself radiates around to the nature space, and it generates so much light. All the beings feel it. It is a very powerful higher state of consciousness. Something to offer the birds, something to sit by your beehive and do, something to sit and do if you do some kind of treatment with people or healing work, or a way to open the space or protect a space before ceremony. It is one of the most powerful states of being to generate light. So this is an incredible, powerful state of being. And the genesis of light, it's one of the things that I rely on the most in land healing and just remembering that I'm the magical tool. So the genesis of light and compassion, and it all starts with self-compassion. So goodness gracious, I cannot wait to see you in the next episode for the wrap up of the Genesis of Light series. It's an awesome one. So thank you for being here. Remember, this is the foundations. This is why we're here. If you incarnated at this great cycle on this earth where we are actually changing from one vibration to another, from one dimension or density to another, from one state of consciousness to another, if you're here for that transition, you are love, and you are a warrior, and you are fierce, and you are also compassion. So thank you so much for coming to the episode today. Remember these simple basics. I'll see you in the next episode.